Did you think getting promoted would be easy? I did, and I spent 13 years as a manager and got passed over twice, and I wasted years doing everything wrong. I eventually made it to director, but man, it was a grind. There are things I wish I had known early in my career, like how ignoring your boss can actually be the fastest way to move up. So to help you make the jump faster, in this video, there's 15 ways to quickly go from manager to director so you can finally land your promotion without waiting years. Lesson number 1. Ever wonder why hitting every goal still doesn't get you promoted? Well, here's the truth. The work you're most proud of may be the very thing holding you back. Think of it like this. When you want to cook a nice juicy steak, what do? Do you toss it in the microwave for 5 minutes and hope for the best? Of course not. You know that's how you end up with freaking rubber. You slow cook it, you marinate it, and you wait because great flavor takes time. Listen to me talk like I actually know how to cook. But the same goes for leadership. If you're only thinking in terms of what gets done this week, you're microwave managing and it's fast and forgettable. So lesson number 1 is thinking in weeks keeps you stuck. Directors think in years. So this week, I want you to frame your updates in terms of where the business will be in 1 to 3 years. That's how you stop being seen as a task manager and start being seen as a strategist. Lesson number 2. Have you ever had a big decision that you needed to make, but you froze or pushed it off because you weren't really sure what the best move was? Well, here's the truth. If that happens to you now as a manager, it's going to happen 10 times more as a director. Getting promoted doesn't magically make you more certain. Think of it like driving in a thick fog. You can only see a few feet ahead of you, but you still have to steer and you still have to keep moving forward. Waiting for the perfect visibility means sitting there forever while everyone passes you by. That's what decision making feels like at a higher level. You're rarely going to have all the data, but your team is still looking for you to make that call. So lesson number 2 is you have to decide without all the facts. So this week, I want you to practice decision making with incomplete info. You want to use this simple line of questioning to help make your move. What do we know? What are we assuming? And what do I recommend? That's how you stop being seen as hesitant and start being trusted with high stakes calls. Lesson number 3. Have you ever caught yourself holding back feedback because you didn't want to seem harsh? Well, here's the truth. Holding back is the easiest way to not get promoted. Think about the managers you've respected the most over the years. Were they the ones who softened every word so no one got upset? Probably not. They were the ones who told you the hard truth, directly, calmly, and without apology. You might not have liked it in the moment, but you trusted them more after. So lesson number 3 is not everyone will like you. That's okay. Next time you hesitate to give tough feedback, say it clearly and respectfully anyways. Do your best to keep a good relationship even after giving that tough feedback, but if they're a little colder to you after, you can't let that get to you. And that's how you stop being seen as the nice boss and start being seen as a leader who people respect. Lesson number 4. Have you ever had something go wrong and found yourself rushing to explain why it wasn't your fault? Well, the truth is, no one cares that it's your fault. When I first became an assistant manager, I was scheduled to open. And the night before, I forgot to charge my phone and I slept in and I ended up opening 30 minutes late. But no one was there yet and I could have just got in, acted normal, and nobody would have known. Instead, I went to my manager later and I told him what happened and that I was buying an alarm clock so that it doesn't happen again. And to my surprise, he was impressed. Not because I was late, but because I owned it and I already had the fixed. And that's what executives want. They don't want the excuse. They want to see that you've already solved the problem. So lesson number 4 is if you want to move up, stop making excuses and start showing ownership. So when something goes wrong, skip the explanation, lead with the solution. That's how you start being seen as the person with answers, even when things go to Lesson number 5. Have you ever given an update and halfway through you could tell you were already losing the room? Well, the truth is, if you can't hold the room when you talk, you're not going to get promoted. So how do you hold the room? Well, I want you to think of SportsCenter. You probably watch it because you don't want to sit through all 4 quarters, or you just want the highlight reel, the dunk, the touchdown, the Josh Allen comeback in the 4th quarter against the Ravens. You want to see the final result. And that's how execs want updates. They don't care about every play you ran, they just want the score. So lesson number 5 is details are going to lose people's attention. Leaders speak in outcomes. So in your next update, headline with the result first. Only add granular detail if they ask. Lesson number 6. Have you ever explained something to an employee and halfway through, even you realize it was getting more confusing the longer you spoke? Well, the truth is, if this happens to you, you're gonna get passed over. Think of it like when someone says, AI is going to destroy our team, but the second you ask them, like, okay, but how exactly is it gonna hurt the team? And then they freeze and they toss out weird buzzwords and maybe mention ChatGPT, but it's clear they don't really understand what they're saying. That's how your bosses and employees feel when you ramble. If you can't land it in one clean line, they'll assume you don't actually understand it yourself. So lesson number 6 is if you can't explain it in 9 seconds, you don't get it. This week, work on explaining something in the most simple way possible, or learn about it if you can. That's how you prove you understand work on a deeper level and show you're ready for bigger roles. Lesson number 7. Have you ever asked a question in a meeting and instantly wish you hadn't because it made you sound unprepared? Well, the truth is, every weak question you ask tells leaders you're not ready for a promotion. Imagine it like this. If you went into a doctor's office for a fever of 103 degrees, and after the doc took your temp, he asked you, "So, do you feel hot?" Like, duh, what kind of stupid question is that? But if he instead asked you, well, when did this start? Have you had any other symptoms? Have you traveled out of the country recently? That's a stronger line of questioning because it digs deeper and it shows actual expertise. Your questions in meetings work the exact same way. So lesson number 7 is ask well thought out questions that shift the conversation. So before every meeting, prepare one question that connects the discussion to bigger business goals. And that's how you start being seen as promotion ready. Lesson number 8. Have you ever noticed that you can say something the exact same way to 2 people and they take it completely differently? I've learned over the years that this is something that massively holds managers back from getting promoted. When I first started as a manager, the first time I tried to give a sales pep talk, it completely bombed. I used the same pitch on my salespeople that I gave my boss. I talked numbers, revenues, and targets, but that's because he cared about that, and it worked with him. But with my team, it was like talking to your dog about your favorite Ozzy Osbourne song. Literally did not care. Crazy train, by the way. What finally clicked was instead of talking about dollars and metrics, I talked about people, how each membership meant helping someone lose weight, get healthier, feel stronger. That's what fired them up. And talking about their own pockets and commissions, that helped a little bit. But what I realized is that lesson number 8 is you need to be like a chameleon with your language and adapt to who's in front of you. So this week, before you speak, you want to ask yourself, who's in this room and what do they actually care about? When you start speaking to each person on a deeper level like this, you'll instantly be recognized as the leader in the room that they have to pay more. Lesson number 9. Do you spend all your energy trying to impress your boss, thinking that's the fastest way to get promoted? The truth is, you need to ignore your boss. Early in my career, I thought my whole job was to make my boss happy. I stayed late, I hit every deadline, I even helped manage his managers, all to keep him looking good. And it worked. He trusted me, he valued me, and I figured I was next in line for promotion. But when the decision came, he wasn't even in the room. And the hard truth was, he only had a minor input on my promotion. And that's when it hit me. Chasing my boss's approval was the wrong game. So lesson number 9 is stop trying to please your boss. Start getting noticed by the people who actually make the decisions. And hey, maybe that is your boss, but put yourself where leaders can see you. You want to volunteer for projects they care about. Frame your updates around big company goals and look for ways for your team's work to help them win. Lesson number 10. Ever had a great idea at work and wonder why no one cared? The brutal truth is your ideas don't matter as much as you think they do. I mean, they matter to me. I like your ideas. But a good example of this and how this works is Steve Jobs. He didn't invent the iPod. He didn't code the iPhone. The engineers did that. His genius was spotting the best ideas, packaging them, and showing the world why they mattered. And that's what made him a legend. It's the same in your career. You don't get promoted for having every idea. So lesson number 10 is it's not about having the best idea. It's about showing you can elevate the right idea even when it's not yours. So in your next meeting, don't just push one of your ideas, amplify someone else's and connect it to bigger company goals. That's how you stop being seen as competitive and start being seen as someone trying to grow the business. Lesson number 11. Have you ever wondered what your bosses say about you when you're not in the room? The truth is, these conversations behind closed doors are going to be the deciding factor on if you move up or not. Think of it like this. Your reputation is like your credit score. You build it slowly, point by point, with every on-time payment. But you miss one payment or you default and it follows you everywhere. You can repair it, but it's never quite the same and it takes years. Promotions work the same way. I really wish leaders remembered everything good that you did, but they don't. They remember the one time you broke trust or lost your cool or missed badly. So lesson number 11 is your reputation is everything and you need to guard it with your life. So I want you to ask yourself, what's the one line that you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? Are you a result getter? Do you get things done fast? You're someone that people want to follow? For me, they just say I'm a handsome ginger. No, I'm kidding. They don't say I'm handsome. Once you have that line, do something every single day to make that a reality and watch how fast it earns you an amazing reputation. Lesson number 12. Ever been in a moment where everything was falling apart and you could feel all eyes on you? The harsh reality is that despite this being stressful, these moments are critical to your career. If you get this right, it instantly builds respect. I learned this a few years ago when I had a team member at a fitness club that I managed whose respect I could just never really earn. He always kind of marched to the beat of his own drum. Then one day, one of our members collapsed on a cardio machine. When we got to him, his lips were blue, his face was white, and he wasn't actually breathing. And in one crazy blur, I snapped into action and fell on my muscle memory and barked out to call 911 and let's go get the AED. And I started CPR while someone else started cutting his shirt off. It was looking pretty grim. I was just about to place the AED pads to shock him when he took a massive gasp of air. It was like life snapped back into his body. When the paramedics took him away, I looked up and I saw that employee who had never really respected me, and he was just staring wide-eyed and in shock. And it was crazy because from that point onward, something kind of changed in him and I earned his respect that day. Now, at your job, you're probably not going to have people almost flopping dead every week, but the principle is the same. People may forget 100 normal days, but they'll never forget how you showed up when everything fell apart. So lesson number 12 is crisis moments make or break you. So when things go wrong, I want you to breathe, get clear on the facts, and take charge with calm clarity. That's how you stop being seen as just another manager and start being remembered as a leader worth following. Lesson number 13. Do you feel like your team is always needing your help because you're the expert at your work? Unfortunately, the better you are at your job, the harder it is to move up. Being the one your team depends on, it feels powerful, like you're holding everything together, but in reality, it's like being the bottom piece of a Jenga tower. You're critical, you're the foundation, but because everything rests on you, you can't move. And that's why most managers get stuck. They think being indispensable proves their value when it really just proves that you're unpromotable because the whole tower would collapse if you were taken out. So lesson number 13 is if your team can't function without you, you're trapped. So you need to shift from being the expert who solves every problem to the enabler who equips your teams by coaching them, documenting clear playbooks, and delegating real decisions. That's how you prove to senior leaders that you can scale results through others, which is a core director skill. Lesson number 14. Do you assume that your results will speak for themselves? I did, and it stalled my career for years. Here's the truth. Just because you worked hard on it doesn't mean anybody will notice. It's like buying your partner flowers, but leaving them in the car. You spent the money, you did the work, but if they never see them, you don't get any credit. And your wins at work are the exact same. If you don't bring them into the room, nobody knows that they happened. So lesson number 14 is nobody tracks your wins for you. Keep a simple win log and translate your results into executive language, which is outcome, not effort. Share them consistently in a way that makes it feel like you're highlighting your team so it doesn't come off as bragging. But that's how you stop being overlooked and start being remembered as ready for more. Lesson number 15. If you were to move up today, do you have someone ready to take your place? Most managers don't think about what I'm going to show you, and it's quietly killing their career. Getting promoted is kind of like changing a tire. If the person under you is a donut spare, nobody's putting that on the car for the long haul. It'll work in a pinch, but it's not built to last. And neither is calling your employees donuts. Until you've built someone up who can be the full replacement tire, not just a temporary fix, you're not going to move up. So lesson number 15 is you don't move up until someone can replace you. So I want you to start building your replacement by mentoring that one team member, handing off real responsibilities to them, and documenting your playbook so they can run it without you. This is going to show senior leadership that you're not only growing future leaders, but you're thinking ahead, which is a clear signal that you're ready to step up. But at the end of the day, all 15 of these lessons won't get you promoted if you make this one simple mistake. And that's when you play fair when you're competing for your promotion. So go watch this video next where I'll show you how playing fair is holding you back and the unfair advantages you can use to make sure you're the first in line to get promoted.